we talked earlier, John and I have been saying since last week, Donald Trump needs to say more. What would you like him to say if he called you up and said, Harold, what should I do? What should I say? What would be ideal from your point of view to try to address this horrible situation?
Well, I think a lot of what you guys have said over the last few days is, I mean, you captured it, you nailed it. Because everyone on the set has not said it, I'll just repeat it. I think him saying, look, the campaign was the campaign. Anyone who believes that things that were said during the campaign, that I'm aligned with people saying that they are for white power, they're for engaging in violent acts against African Americans or Muslims or others in this country, other minority groups in this country. I'm not for that. With a tough-fought campaign, but the campaign is over, and I seek to represent and govern on behalf of the country. He's got to put those in his own words. Again, I thought his tone in 60 Minutes was spot on, but as you guys asked, the selection of a John Bolton, does that mean we're going to bolt from NATO? Does that mean we're going to coddle or cozy up to Russia? I mean, I think that the decisions he makes along those lines are, well, if he does not settle this first part with making clear that the acts of violence and intimidation are not who he is or what he represents, it's going to be harder for him to govern on the other front in the other spaces.
Zainab, how damaging do you think to the national psyche what's going on is now, and what would you like to see the president-elect, if anything, do about it?
Well, right now, there's a lot of fear, I think, and anxiety and concern, especially amongst marginalized or vulnerable minority groups who have been targeted and negatively impacted by this toxic election campaign season. And I think we need a leader who can unite our country, who can bring together, people from both sides of the aisle and calm fears and address some of the core issues that both sides are grappling with. And part of that solution, I think, is specifically appointing top strategists and advisors who do not have a track record of anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, anti-immigrant, anti-refugee rhetoric that has been, promoted amongst their audience members, like Mr. Banners has.
Zainab, let me stay with you and just ask you this question. A lot of people on cable television in the last few days, seeing what's been happening, have suggested that it would be a good idea for Donald Trump to do something symbolic, like go visit a mosque, for instance, to try to extend a symbolic olive branch to the Muslim American community. Do you think that that would be helpful for him to do that, or would that be seen as a kind of token gesture that would do nothing to kind of alleviate concerns that arose out of how he campaigned and some of the proposals he put on the table?
Well, we know last night Mr. Trump did, publicly tell his supporters to stop the hatred and stop the racism. Unfortunately, words have to be backed up with action. And the damage that has been done over the course of the last 18, 19 months won't be undone just by, some sound bites. It's going to take concrete action. And I think the message that was sent, especially to immigrants and minority communities across the nation by the appointment of this current top strategist, Mr. Bannon, it sends a signal that he's not ready to unite the country. He's not ready to heal some of the wounds that have been inflicted over the past 18 months. Reaching out to the American Muslim community specifically would be a strong gesture of, or show that he's making an effort to unite the country and, address some of the concerns of the Muslim community, American Muslim community. This has been an especially difficult time for many Americans, but especially American Muslims, in the sense that we have seen an unprecedented level of Islamophobia in the United States during this, past 18 months. And just in the days following the announcement of the election results, we saw the number of hate crimes, bias attacks, incidents of discrimination, bullying just spiked tremendously, even more than post 9/11. So it's really a concerning time for our communities.
Harold, I want to ask you what you think about what's happening in the Democratic world right now. Obviously, a huge amount of chaos, a lot of recrimination. Keith Ellison maybe going to be the next DNC chair. Just give us a snapshot of how the Democratic Party is coping right now and what the road ahead looks like for your party.
I think there's ambiguity on both fronts. I mean, I think people are hurt, surprised, shocked by what has happened. The reactions I think you see in the streets are not only a reaction to what this young lady so eloquently stated, the kind of climate that exists out there, But politically speaking, there's, you know, the Clinton family has been such an integral part of this Democratic Party. My entire adult life, they have essentially been the leaders. Naturally, President Obama has been president the last 8 years, but Bill Clinton has been such a supersized and outsized influence, rightly so. So as the party thinks about its future, and the Clintons remain an important part of the party, but it's clearly a transition being made. We've got to think about a message. Clinton brought in a message with Mary's husband. It's the economy, stupid, and refocused Democrats on empowering and re-empowering the middle class. Donald Trump was able to do that very well this election, better than our candidate. We've got to zero in on a message and a platform that allows us to do that. I think Keith Ellison is he's a friend. He's a very good congressman. I hope that as this process unfolds and maybe he stays in the race, others get in the race, I want to hear the kind of commitment that these candidates are going to have to not only the party, but helping develop a platform and how willing they are to go out across the country, particularly in the Rust Belt, and help to reconnect with voters who, by definition, should be Democrats, because I think our party represents the best chance for middle-class Americans not only to grow, but to see their kids grow beyond their means and grow beyond the state they sit today.